In this video, I'm going to go over the main causes of weight gain, being overweight, and obesity. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, how did I get this way? What happened? This video will tell you. The information in this video will cover the basic cause of weight gain, and it can empower you to stop gaining weight and prevent you from gaining more weight. If you are already overweight, losing weight can be very difficult, but this information in this video will at least nudge you in the right direction. If you look at any old photographs prior to the 1980s, you will notice that most of the people look pretty thin. If you do an image search for 1970s beach photographs, you will have a hard time picking out a single obese person in the images. Everyone looks so thin. The truth is massive weight gain didn't really start in America until the 1980s. If you go back before the 1950s, the obesity rate was under 10% of the population. Now, in 2026, 60% of Americans are overweight or obese. Here's the first thing you need to know. People will blame being overweight or obese on genetics, but human genetics do not change in just one generation or just 2 generations. The genetics of the American population aren't significantly different in 2026 than they were in 1970. But the obesity rate has tripled. Many of the people that were alive in the 1980s are still alive today. So, the first thing to understand is that it's not genetic. Here's a graph showing the obesity rates in the USA by decade. Notice how the green line takes off between 1975 and 1980, and then just climbs from about 12% to over 40% in just 50 years. There wasn't a change in our genetics, there was a change in our society. So what changed? There are a number of different things that contribute to weight gain and obesity, but we are looking for the main factor. We want to know what the main change is that happened in the 1980s. In a nutshell, it's the food. Our food changed. What we ate changed. Certain foods will cause weight gain, and eating too many of these foods always eventually leads to insulin resistance, diabetes, obesity, and early death. So what is the main thing people are eating that makes them fat, sick, diabetic, and eventually leads to an early death? The answer is refined carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are basically just sugar. This is mostly from refined grains. The grains are wheat, corn, and rice. By refined, we mean that food companies take the whole grains and they separate out the parts until you are left with basically just pure sugar. Here is a diagram of a piece of grain. It has bran, which is fiber, endosperm, which is starch, which is sugar, germ, the part that sprouts, and a hull or husk, which is fiber. The food companies will remove the bran, hull and germ, and keep the endosperm, which is pure sugar. And that's what white bread is. This is also how they make high fructose corn syrup, which is probably the most common sweetener used in the USA. They refine a piece of corn until they extract and keep only the sugary part to make high fructose corn syrup. And by the way, high fructose corn syrup started being used heavily in processed foods in the 1980s, right where the obesity rate started to take off and climb to where it is today. The next thing to know is that starch is sugar. This is a diagram showing a starch chain. Each of the little circles is a glucose molecule. Glucose is the main simple form of sugar. When doctors talk about your blood sugar or high blood sugar, they are talking about the amount of glucose in your blood. Now, normally, you probably don't think of bread, potatoes, and pasta as being sugar like, say, candy. But these foods are pure starch, which means they are pure chains of glucose, which is sugar. You might find it hard to believe, but a slice of white bread will spike your blood sugar more quickly than a Snicker candy bar. This is commonly not understood. Starch is sugar. Starch is a fast-acting sugar on your bloodstream. When you eat starchy foods, the chains of glucose molecules starts to immediately break up when the food hits your stomach, and then it's immediately absorbed into your bloodstream, raising your blood sugar. Starch doesn't taste sweet like candy, but it is actually just pure sugar. The main starchy foods are wheat, corn, rice, and potatoes. Processed foods made from wheat, corn, rice, and potatoes. Bread, tortillas, potato chips, pasta, soda pop made with high fructose corn syrup, cakes, cookies, crackers, corn chips, French fries. So, if you go to a fast food place and get a hamburger, some fries, and a drink, you're basically left with the hamburger bun, that is basically just pure sugar, the French fries that are basically deep fried sugar, the ketchup that is just sauce made with sugar and corn syrup, and the drink that is just basically sugar water with corn syrup. A Big Mac meal has 180 grams of sugar, 58 grams of fat, and 32 grams of protein. Let's break this down a little bit because the way they do nutrition labels is actually confusing. It says 190 grams of carbohydrates, 10 grams of dietary fiber, 95 grams of sugar. First off, carbohydrate is just another word for sugar. Second, you cannot digest fiber. Fiber is technically a carbohydrate, but you can just consider fiber to not have calories because for the most part, you can't digest them. They do help with your gut health and are important, but fiber does not cause you to gain weight. When it says 95 grams of sugar, this is the sugar from the high fructose corn syrup. They are not counting the starch. You can see how much starch something has by taking the total and subtracting the fiber and sugar. So, 190 grams of carbs minus 10 grams of fiber is 180 grams. 180 grams of carbs minus 95 grams of sugar gives us 85 grams of starch. So it actually looks like this: 190 grams of carbohydrates, 10 grams of fiber, 95 grams of sugar, 85 grams of starch. But the starch is really just sugar too, and it's the fast-acting glucose on your blood sugar. So really, if you subtract the fiber, since you can't digest it, you're injecting 180 grams of sugar into your body by eating a Big Mac meal. It's the sugar, including starch, that raises your blood sugar and causes your body to release insulin, which is a fat storage hormone. And that's why you gain weight. Anytime you eat enough sugar to spike your blood sugar and cause an insulin response, you gain weight. At some point, your cells get tired of being flooded with too much sugar all the time, and they begin to resist insulin. It's this insulin resistance that we call type 2 diabetes. That fat roll is caused by eating too much sugar and starch, and your body releases insulin, which then causes the cells to soak up the sugar and convert it to fat. Every extra bit of fat on your body is only there because of insulin. When you see a person that is overweight or obese, you know it was caused by spikes in blood sugar that released insulin and turned on fat storage. When you see someone with obesity, that is a sign of insulin resistance or pre-diabetes. This is also called metabolic syndrome. Okay, so the foods that cause weight gain now look like this. Beans and legumes are starchy vegetables. They also contain protein. They are not as unhealthy as wheat, corn, rice, and potatoes, but if you want to lose weight, you probably want to avoid them while dieting. I titled this slide, Weight Gain Foods, but it could be titled, Foods that will spike your blood sugar. So what foods won't spike your blood sugar? The answer is whole foods. But what is a whole food? A whole food is an unprocessed, unrefined food straight from nature. And prior to the 1950s, just about all food people ate were whole foods, and very few people were overweight. Whole foods include the whole fruits and vegetables, meat, dairy, and seafood. These foods are generally located on edges of grocery stores with the processed foods in the middle aisles. If your diet consisted of only whole foods, it would be very difficult to become obese. You would really have to work hard at it and probably include a lot of bananas, potatoes, and dates, which are the most sugar-dense whole foods. Some whole foods contain sugar, but they also contain a large amount of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and other nutritional compounds that refined foods do not. Again, it would be difficult to eat enough whole foods to cause weight gain. Even though fruits contain sugar, you just aren't going to be able to eat enough apples to cause weight gain. That's the first hack. Just shop on the edge of the grocery store and avoid boxed and processed foods, and the majority of people will immediately stop gaining weight, and many people will start to lose weight with that change alone. You do have to avoid the bakery section on the outside edge of the grocery store because the baked goods are made of refined grains and often with added sugars. Let's get a little bit more specific of what foods won't spike your blood sugar and cause weight gain. Meats, seafood, cheese, eggs, green and colorful vegetables. Pretty much the optimum diet for most people will consist of meats, dairy, and green and colorful vegetables. If that was your diet, you wouldn't gain weight. And if you hadn't already developed insulin resistance, you would never develop it and you would never become obese. All right, here is your new food pyramid. Notice what we have at the top: meat, dairy, green and colorful vegetables. And what's at the bottom? Grains and bread. So, let's review. Number 1, starch is a sugar. It's just chains of pure glucose molecules, and that is what blood sugar is. Number 2, refined foods are basically just pure sugar. Number 3, weight gain is caused by consuming too much sugar and starch, which spikes your blood sugar and causes your insulin to release, turning on fat storage. Number 4, once you spike your blood sugar too many times, your cells develop insulin resistance or diabetes and obesity. Number 5, with very few exceptions, whole foods just don't contain enough sugar to spike your blood sugar and cause weight gain. Number 6, avoid refined grains and processed foods. Number 7, eat whole foods and you will stop gaining weight. And number 8, shop on the edges of the grocery store. If you want a more in-depth understanding of different kinds of sugar, watch this video. If you want a more in-depth understanding of refined foods, watch this video. And if you want a deeper understanding of blood sugar, watch this video.
Welcome to Yoga Plus. Courses available from pupil to yogi. Sort by yoga, fitness, and instructors. Create your own routines. Access the Pose Library. Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth, available on Google Play and the App Store.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.